put us in because the Democrats didn't fix what we did to you in 21 months. And we think that they did a terrible thing by passing that regulatory bill to make it harder for banks to do again what they did this time that nearly brought the house down. So we'll repeal regulation and we'll go back to doing what we did before, except we'll do more of it. I couldn't make this up. They've got a budget plan, and I really respect Congressman Tim Ryan from Wisconsin as their budget man, and he actually has put out a budget plan. It calls for a 25% across-the-board cut in all domestic spending over the next few years, and huge tax cuts, 117% of which, I couldn't make this up, go to the top 5%. The other 95%, the American people will actually have a tax increase to get less in education, less in health care, less in investment for the future. Now that's their plan. In other words, we'll do what we did before on steroids. It's not legal to use steroids anymore, and it shouldn't be legal to put people who were doing that back in control of America's Congress. So what do you need? We need, first of all, independent people who think and do what's best for you today and in the future. And the one thing you got to say about this guy is he has been truly independent. He has not voted. He's not voted for the president on every issue.
No.
Because on health care, for example, we New Yorkers have a special problem. We got a lot of immigrants here who are undocumented, and our hospitals face real problems under this health care bill. On the other hand, the Republicans are not really concerned about your hospital. What they really want to do is to leave the insurance companies in control of health care prices, which has nearly bankrupted this country. So, you want to have somebody in there who wants to fix it in the right way. He does. I'll give you another example that I think is really important. The really important thing, as I said, is what do we do now? Well, you got to have people who think, not ideologues. The thing that bothers me about most of the Republican candidates is they're utterly impervious to evidence. It's okay to have a philosophy. It's a good thing. It's a noble thing. And we need conservatives and liberals in the Congress. We need progressives and people who are afraid of change. We need all kinds of philosophies. We don't need any ideologues because an ideologue already has his or her mind made up and the evidence is utterly irrelevant. We wouldn't be around as a nation anymore if we had been governed by people who didn't care what the evidence was. Who knew what they were going to do regardless of the fact. That's the first thing. He fits the bill. He's worked hard, gotten things done, and tried to tailor what he does to represent you. The second thing we got to do is figure out how to get this economy going again. Now, you just think about it. I've given a lot of thought to this. And I've done a lot of work on it. And even in my current life and my foundation work, I try to help create jobs in America, all over the country. Here's what I think. There are three things we have to worry about. One is, if we're not going to have another stimulus because we're worried about the deficit, where are we going to get the money to get this economy going again? I'll tell you where. The corporations of America have $1.6 trillion in their treasuries. We need to figure out what it would take to get them to invest that money again and get that job done. There's $1.6 trillion. Even more important, the banks of America, listen to this, once teetering on the verge of bankruptcy, are not only paying back their loans with interest, they now have $1.8 trillion in the bank uncommitted to loans. Now, we're not talking about this kind of radical this whole world recession be over in a nanosecond if the banks would loan money again. We need to figure out what it would take to get them to give money to small businesses. That's the first thing. There's plenty of money here to get us going again. We just got to loosen it up. Second thing we said, what are the object of the lending or the investment? Well, there are three great opportunities for America to create jobs. First, to get the small business sector going again, because that's where most of the jobs have been created for the last 30 years. Second, to bring manufacturing back to America. And third, to create new energy jobs by making America more energy independent, less dependent on the Middle East, with more jobs that will create a brighter future and avert the worst aspects of climate change. He has been lobbying and introduced legislation to do more for small business, and today the President's going to make a proposal and the Congress is going to have a chance to do something for small business between now and the election that will get this sector of our economy going again. You watch who votes how. When we get beyond the rhetoric, down to the meat of the coconut, just remember there are very few people in the entire Congress who have tried to do anything remotely as much for small business as your Congressman, McMahon. Now, here's the third thing, and this will astonish you. While the unemployment rate is high, and we have had as many as 1,000 applicants for some jobs in America. You know, I was governor of Arkansas. I was down there the other day. We have 2 medical residencies yet unfilled in the university medical system. And because other states are in such terrible trouble and have had to cut back on residencies, the 2 we have are in very poor rural areas. Usually they're fairly hard to fill. We got 334 doctors applying for those 2 slots. So that's the story we all know. Here's one that will surprise you. When last month's unemployment figures came out, it was revealed that posted job openings, that is, employers announce a job, they'll hire you today. They are going up twice as fast as job hires. It has never happened in this kind of recession before, not in my lifetime, not once. Why is that? Because we had so many people drop out of college, because we had so many people victimized by the cutbacks in job training programs. I am telling you, the Labor Department can give every congressional district and every state in this country a list of the posted job openings that are not being filled because people haven't been through the training to do it. We ought to give the businesses themselves the money or give it to the states and do the training. It would be the cheapest money we ever spent. It's 5 million jobs. Yeah. Here's my question. Who's more likely to do this kind of stuff? A clear-headed, active, non-ideological, independent Democrat or an ideological Republican? I don't think it's a close question. The fourth thing we have to worry about is this deficit over the long run. But there is a bipartisan deficit reduction commission meeting in Washington that the President appointed and supported. That interestingly enough, the Republicans said they were for it until he said, I accept. Then they were against it. Until it became so embarrassing that they had to flip it. We'll do something about that. But right now, interest rates are low. It's costing us less to pay our interest on the debt because we've got to get this economy going again. The most important thing is to create more jobs and help small business and bring back manufacturing in America. And I'm just telling you, I know who will do it. Practical people, most of them are Democrats. I'll just give you an example. You may find this hard to believe, but an American businessman just announced that he had bought 2 electric car companies China and was moving all the manufacturing to America. And already made his first big fleet sale in this